This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV at Cloud Expo East. We have a special interview here with Cory Isaacson, who is the CEO and maybe more important, the CTO of CodeFutures. He's been all over this show. He's spoken at this show. He's met with customers. He's on the exhibit floor. So let's talk about your experience. What did you come here expecting, and what kind of conversations have you had? And welcome, by the way.
Welcome to you. Thank you. Thank you. We've been very busy at the show. I can say that. We've really had tremendous customer feedback from what we've been presenting. We had our keynote speech yesterday, and we had a full house, and I was very pleased to see what the interest level was in what we're doing. And I think, honestly, I think we presented one of the only real database innovations that have happened in many, many years.
Talk about that. What do you mean by that? Prove it.
We introduced our product called Agile Data yesterday, and Agile Data is basically the first Agile view, a streaming view of looking at database, and data as a streaming real-time dynamic capability, as opposed to looking at databases as a static repository. And the way we work with our streaming technology and our what we call dynamic views, we actually can meet a tremendous number of application requirements. And we talked about it also in some of the technical sessions, and really the concept is catching on, well, frankly, as well as I could have expected. It's really, really exciting.
There's big data is all over this. So let's talk a little bit about your company's view of big data, and what are you hearing from people here at the show about their view of big data and how to deal with it?
Well, I think a lot of people are concerned about big data because they don't really know how to approach it. They're coming from a more traditional infrastructure, and they don't know how to go about integrating big data, especially on a gradual kind of basis from what they have, getting to a big data platform. And the issue is that people look at databases really as a fixed static repository where we put data in and we get data out and we manipulate it and we put some more data in, and it just gets very, very complicated. And it's very obvious that everyone's running into these kind of troubles. They're working very, very difficult situations with their applications. It's way too hard. And so what we basically have been proposing with our new Agile Data structure is basically you can have a much more dynamic and fluid look at the whole problem so that you can have the data really in any format that you need, so that it's very, very natural to program from the application.
It's a living, breathing thing. I'm starting to imagine this sort of growing, and not necessarily growing in a straight line or even three-dimensional fashion, but just growing in all sorts of different ways, and we're starting to add these inputs from Internet of Things to it, and it seems like it's a living, breathing thing. Is that the challenge?
That's exactly the idea. Is we really think you should look at it as a living, dynamic stream instead of looking at it as a static repository. And when you do that, it opens up a huge number of possibilities for what you can do with your information, and it also makes it incredibly simple to deal with. It's much, much easier.
Can you say Cloud Expo is great for me?
Cloud Expo has been fantastic for me.
How are people going to find CodeFutures? I mean, I think it's pretty easy, but why don't you tell people, and if they want to have a conversation with you as well, because you're speaking of dynamic, very dynamic presenter. We actually had someone say yesterday that, they showed up, they didn't know much about the company or you, but they liked the topic, and you grabbed their attention from the beginning and you held it for 45 minutes or an hour of this stuff. So I think it's been very effective. For those people who have not had that experience, what's the best way to contact you and your company?
Go to CodeFutures.com, and if you want to email me, that's fine too, Cory@CodeFutures.com.
And that's CORY at CodeFutures.com. We've been sitting here with Cory Isaacson, CEO and CTO of CodeFutures. Cory, thank you very much for your support of the show, and I'm glad you had a good experience. Folks out there, thanks for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Struckoff.